Okay, well,
Yeah.
welcome. That was a welcome slides. Um, Shameless plug for our conference coming up this fall. If you haven't heard about it, please check it out on our website. Lots of information there. It's going to be wonderful. Getting some really good workshop presenter applications in now. And then one last plug about CES on our new website. We have a resource page and we're gathering things, and all of that we talk about today will be available on that site. If it's not already, shortly afterwards. So it's a great resource page to check out for today's info and a lot of other stuff too. And I would like to turn it over now to Dawn Anderson and welcome her. And she is our CES past president and going to just walk you through today and introduce who we have.
Perfect. Thank you, Terry Ann. And thanks everyone for joining us. We'll try and make this very quick and prompt, and we're going to start out with SD 64, Maggie Allison and Sherry Hambrook. And they're going to explain their program they designed and all aspects of it. And again, the resources for their program are on the website there that Terry Ann just showed you. So that's under our Pro-D. And after that, we'll have Rick Keenline and Carrie Gardner present their program on their health sampler. And they're from SD 73 Kamloops. Then following up, Scott Benwell from the ministry is going to do a bit of a provincial announcement of opportunities, just so that we're all versed in what those are. And just to note as well, Scott was tied with Gulf Islands in supporting that. So he is up there with them as well. And then just to finish, we know that everyone's going to have a lot of questions because we're all very curious. And so because we want to stick to a timeline, we'll take questions at the very end. And then once we hit 4 o'clock, we'll have Terry Ann's email. And so if there's any additional questions that people would like answers to, you can email those to Terry Ann. She'll reach out and make sure they're answered. And then she's going to email out the answers to all those questions to all of us registered here today. Sound good? Okay. So first up, I think we have Maggie and Sherry. So if you want to take over with your slides, that would be great.
We do.
Sherry, you're
It
muted.
should be good to go, Sherry.
All right, number one, I'm not muted anymore. And sharing, I've clicked the button and here we go. Can you let me know if it's working for you? Okay.
Here we are.
All right, so you will also see, I think, today, I am screen sharing. All
Good.
right.
That's it. So we're starting with this image, which was created by a graphic artist. When we were first granted this exciting project, we brought together all of our stakeholders in our community to help us create this care economy sampler. It's a board authorized 4-credit elective course for grades 10 to 12 students. We taught the course in person. Sherry was the teacher last semester, and presently it's being designed as an online course in Brightspace by Sides. That is South Island Distance Education School in Saanich, SD 63. So we first got together and we brought our stakeholders all together in one room, and we thought, what better to do than ask the people who actually worked in these different career sectors of the care economy, what do kids need to know and do and understand in order to be successful?
So from that, we developed 5 big ideas, and we built the course around these fundamental big ideas, which did take miles of sticky notes and weeks of wordsmithing to come up with. They represent the essence and lifeblood of every occupation in the care economy. And the flavor throughout our course is the development of the soft skills existing at the core of care, and a deeper understanding of the range of careers available to those who want to help others in careers rooted in health and wellness. So our course focuses on strengthening our students within themselves to better prepare them with tools to overcome the emotional impact and the rigor experienced in the care economy. As well, recognition of acts of reconciliation, inclusion, improved accessibility, and self-care was at the forefront of our delivery model, aligning with the fundamental shifts of current practices in BC healthcare.
So here we have the common core modules, which are represented in those circles that you see on the right. The common core framework was revisited through each sector that we explored. And the sectors are on the left there. Early childhood education, mental health support workers and counselors, paramedics, firefighters, EMR responders, K-12 educators, healthcare assistants, and allied health and medical technologists.
We identified these 6 in-demand occupations in our particular region and built the partnerships and hosted the guest panels that were needed and the tours with the help of these organizations. And these modules we have written up in our guidebook, a little overviews of each of them, but they can also be, exchanged out for areas that you find in your regions that are more specific to your locations. So how did we bring it all together? It's a lot. It seemed like so much to undertake in one course. And also, which lenses were we going to use to highlight different areas? When I first surveyed the cohort that signed up for this course, they had a deep desire and concern around mental health. And they wanted to understand more about being support workers, social workers, ECEs, and EMR. Those came up as their highlights. These interests do align with our community focuses and our work experience opportunities in our area. So along with highlighting those areas and starting there, I brought in a module on implicit bias, which turned out to be absolutely fantastic and fundamental for the course. We did a lot around the Casper test, which really assisted 5 of the kids in my course took their Casper test while the course was happening. So I didn't even realize how relevant that would be. Naloxone training was provided by our community nurses, as well as lots of conversations around their jobs. We had trauma-informed practices, understanding ACEs. We tapped into our Indigenous team, and that centered around our September 30th events. So it was really flowed with what was happening in the community as I brought in units. The mini med school starts in the fall in Vancouver, and we had opportunity to do virtual live, as well as I sent 3 students to the Discovery Day from our class. The standard first aid certificate, it ended up not being needed. Over 80% of the kids had theirs from other work and experiences, but it's a good option to have. And care worker safety training, just using WorkSafe was really practical and useful. Some of the projects that students enjoyed were using backpack to briefcase workbook. This was a great resource for us, and the kids did journaling around it. And then a lot of the activities in the book used my blueprint already. So we were able to jump in. Also, that book references the Spark Path cards, which we used to create a project around the global challenges of health. And that was, again, a fundamental project that kids really enjoyed. We had lots of guest panels, one for each sector. Current events turned out to be, again, something I thought, oh, we should just do some. Well, oh my gosh, kids dove right in and were able to really pull it together that way. Their career pathway portfolio at the end was a cumulative assignment, and it really was amazing to watch them present those. And a fun one I hadn't expected was art therapy over the Christmas holidays. Those last few days when it's just chaos, we did art therapy, and the kids really, really grew through that. So other skills they didn't even need, they knew they needed, that we ended up growing, was relationship building, using icebreakers. We had class greeters. They had to say hello to each other every day as they came in the door. And that actually changed the entire dynamic of the class. So work experience was not embedded in this one, in our course at all, but always talked about. And by the end, 16 of the 18 students had work experience in health or e-teaching or peer tutoring in some way. That's how we did it.
And then how do you assess it? That was another big head scratcher for us. And we spent a lot of time developing an assessment rubric. But for this course based on development and soft skills, although it was a challenge, it's really well suited to career educators who are experienced in evaluating and assessing students in an experiential learning environment. We actually really dug into this one and had a lot of fun. And that is one of the documents that we're going to be sharing with you too.
Yes, so the rudder of our ship, the keel of our ship, was a document that we created called Qualities of a Care Professional. And throughout the course, we just kept coming back to that. Are we growing these qualities? How do they apply to the people we've spoken to in our guest panels? It was really an amazing keel in our ship. And I would like to try to share that with my screen now. But it is in our guidebook, The Qualities of a Care Professional. It's a rubric. It's great for using the kids to self-evaluate or for you to evaluate how they're doing. So that is,
We could share it.
that is kind of our last slide. So I thought I would try to share that if we have a moment. Okay, here I go.
Share.
I am still sharing. Have you seen me switch screens? Is that what's happening there, Tarianne? No?
No, I still see your slides.
Okay, so I think I have to stop the slides and start on this one.
We'll stop share, and then
And
now
reshare
share,
again.
reshare.
Here we go. Okay, so now can you see a couple pages of a rubric?
Not yet. There it is.
Here it is.
It's traveling from Salt Spring. There we are.
Great. So this rubric is a 3-page document, but I think because of the way I've shared my screen, you might only be able to see 2. The final section of it is, it's got 5 sections: personal awareness, professional communication, understanding populations and families, awareness of human growth and development, and finally, understanding the pathways to careers. Those are the same bubbles as
We saw
the
in slide
original core. And yet the comments in them, when a student is extending in that area, it really is more about how they're being professional in the area of health and health careers. So this is what we use, and the students really appreciated coming back to this and being able to have the vocabulary to express what they were able to do.
So this is our Common Core, and this was visited through, these modules were visited through each one of the occupational sectors that we explored, and those sectors can be transferable in any community to anything that actually is relevant in their own districts. And that's it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll stop sharing. You can hold your questions.
Thank you. That's really fantastic. I know many times last year you were working heavily on this, and it took a lot of your time. So I think we as a province can say thank you for your time and effort in creating that for all of us to take advantage of with our learners. And it looks really, really great. So kudos to you. And just a reminder, everyone, we'll go through the next example, and then we'll hear from Scott, and then we'll take questions. So if you want to take a second just to jot down any key questions you have for Sherry and Maggie, that would be great. And next, we are going to introduce Rick and Carrie. So Director of Instruction is Rick, and District Vice Principal of Careers is Carrie. And they're from School District 73, Kamloops, Thompson. So without further ado, Rick and Carrie, up to you.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. I pulled the short straw, so I'm going to be doing the presentation. I'll speak directly to the information that you see on the slide on the screen, and Carrie has agreed to answer any of the very difficult questions that will come afterwards. It's sort of the way we roll. So first of all, in terms of what we created, in the spring of 2024, our district was fortunate to be awarded a grant from the Ministry of Education and Childcare to support the development of a 4-credit, 120-hour board-authorized health career sampler 12 course, which has been approved by School District 73 Board of Trustees in June. And we moved forward with it within our district in a unique way, but I'll talk a bit about the course structure before we talk about the Health Sciences Academy. So the course structure, of course, has 5 big ideas. The big ideas are the healthcare system can be complex and challenging. Navigating the system often comes with cultural and social barriers. Healthcare professionals have foundational knowledge and skills that span all healthcare careers. Empathy and cultural understanding are essential skills for safe interactions in healthcare environments. Careers in healthcare require various levels of education, training, and personal and practical skill sets, and healthcare professionals are required to act in an ethical and confidential manner. And then stemming from those big ideas, 8 modules, or sorry, there was a core module that was of 30 hours of instruction was developed. And so the core module includes information that's important to all health-related careers. And the topics covered within each one of the, or within the core module include cultural safety and humility standards, empathetic relationship building, safety, ethical and legal issues, health and wellness, anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, and medical mathematics. So out of the 120 hours, that 30-hour core module is essential and must be completed. And then 8 additional, and pathways and careers in healthcare was also part of that module. Then there were 8 additional career occupation modules of 30 hours each that were created, of which 3 will need to be completed based upon student interest. And so those modules were very much connected to the resources and connections, collaborations that we had within our school district and with our various communities within our school district. But those 8 additional modules are nursing, respiratory therapy, health care aid, laboratory services, diagnostic medical imaging, mental health and addiction, pharmacy services, and physical and occupational therapy. So that's the gist of the 120-hour BA course that was developed. And I do want to say thank you not only to Carrie Gardner for her leadership as part of the project, but we did have a teacher that was instrumental in developing the entire BA course and making connections within our community to healthcare professionals and our Indigenous partners to inform the development of the course, but also to be part of what the next piece was in terms of our unique piece of delivery. So we decided within ST 73 to use the course as the foundation for a District Health Sciences Academy. And so this academy was located at Brocklehurst Secondary School. It commenced in the first semester of this school year, and it actually was completed at the end of January. And we had 26 students who enrolled in the academy from all over the district. They traveled to Brocklehurst Secondary, many of them, to participate in the academy. And it was a really great success. So we built the academy based upon a cohort of students. 4 courses were offered as part of the academy, and they were the Health Career Sampler 12 course, Anatomy and Physiology 12, Work Experience 12, and Career Life Connections 12. We had 1 teacher deliver all 4 of these courses to the cohort. The students worked as a cohort for the entire day, each day of the semester, semester 1. So those 4 courses were covered with fidelity, but there was flexibility within the day because the students stayed together and were immersed all day in the courses. I do also want to say that this was done under the guidance of our academy teacher, Marie Bush, and for a first go around, it was exceptional. And I do want to mention her name because she really did ensure that the academy moved forward well. So what was unique within the academy, not only were the students going through the 4 courses, but the Work Experience 12 component, we were very fortunate that we had a very strong partnership with Interior Health, with Royal Inland Hospital, and with 2 extended care facilities. So each Wednesday afternoon, students left the classroom and they rotated through career experience placements at each of these facilities. And so as an example, at Royal Inland Hospital, these students ended up with 18 distinct placements, which included the emergency department, ambulatory care, orthopedics, cardiology outpatient care, medical lab technology, respiratory therapy, physiotherapy, speech and language pathology, day surgery, pharmacy, and even admitting and executive administration. So these were all organized through the volunteer services coordinator at the hospital and also the staff development educator. So these students actually had unprecedented access to these departments and received very strong mentorship through those departments in terms of the medical professionals that met them and worked with them during their experience placement. I think it's really important to also say that this course does not have to be at the cornerstone of Health Sciences Academy. It can be offered in a non-academy offering. And so it's designed to be offered as a standalone course utilizing the teacher resource guide and the extension links that are provided in the curriculum document and also the resource guide that's provided on the CES website. And I do also want to say that there's an online course also being developed. It's currently being developed right now, and it's going to be offered through Kamloops Online Learning, which is a provincial online learning school to be accessed through the province. So it can be taught as a standalone course, but in our district, we used it as the foundation piece for our academy. I've already mentioned the available resources and but some other things to consider. Really, the success of our model was collaboration and partnership with our regional health authorities, our local service providers, and our post-secondary institutions. The concept of our academy and even much of the course came out of what we call the Discover Day in Healthcare. It's a one-day experience that we have in School District 73. That was a creation of Allison Badger, who's our career education coordinator. Many of our partnerships grew from that particular day, a Discover Day for students, where 60 students will go to Thompson Rivers University and they'll access the respiratory therapy lab and really get a day of experience talking to medical professionals, including in the nursing lab. And of course, I've already mentioned Royal Inland Hospital. So that was the volunteer services coordinator, Christy Denton, and the staff development educator, Lori Hanna. And finally, the coordinator of external partnerships and recruitment for Interior Health, who is Sarah Lauman. So all of these individuals were instrumental in permitting us access to work experience, specialized opportunities for mentorship, and our unique way of offering the BA Healthcare Sampler 12 course as part of a Health Sciences Academy. I will also note that our learning through our first run when it comes to the academy is that 100 hours of work experience in an or in a medical setting is not an easy task for students. Not only did they have to go through the Wednesday afternoons, but they were also finding their own placements in order to meet that requirement. So what we're looking at now is possibly moving away from the WEX 12 component because the work experience or career experience component of the academy fits well with the CLC 12 course, and looking at a dual credit connection to our local university as part of the academy. So that's a lot of information in a short period of time, but that is how School District 73 not only developed the BA Healthcare Sampler 12 course, but integrated it within our district as a first run through. Thank you, Don. Back to you.
No, that's amazing, Rick. Thank you. I think your vision that you've created is amazing, and I think the key things that you really highlighted as the critical elements are important for us to consider. And then your feedback on the WEX piece and where to kind of go next. Those are critical items for us to consider as we take these different things on. So thank you. So next up, we have Scott Benwell. So Scott, opportunities to join the Care Economy. Over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Dawn, and first and foremost, thanks to the Society for a little bit of time this afternoon. I will be brief, and that'll give us some time for questions, which I'm sure everyone have. Just a little note of who I am and who I'm not. I don't represent the Ministry of Education here, and I'm no longer with SD 64. So I'm one of those former superintendents that has gone off into the world of consulting and contracting. So This opportunity came to me through a relationship between the Ministry of Education and the BC School Superintendents Association. So that ask to the association, Superintendents Association, is to support this BAA course being developed, customized in other districts. So, Maggie and Sherry's presentation was as impressive today as it was in front of our board when we had it approved. My involvement there was just simply to recommend approval. That tremendous amount of hours and work that went into it. Certainly credit to Maggie, Sherry, and as well as Ryan Massey, the high school principal, who's listed as an author there as well. So you can see that this may be for other districts simply a plug and play. It comes implementation ready. Or there's opportunities here to make it your own, and Maggie and Sherry foreshadowed that in their document, and there's a process there for localizing it, to take on some development with the modules, or creating a new module that is more relevant to your district. So, that's any number of different things. But because there isn't 100% fit, doesn't mean that the BAA isn't potentially relevant. Might just need some tweaking. And I think that's what this opportunity is. There is some a budget associated with it. It's not a blank check, but it can go towards bringing some folks together to do some development time, teacher release time, gathering those community partners, as you heard Maggie and Sherry talk about. So that's my role here. It's not to develop the modules themselves. That would be up to a school district that expresses interest. Mine is to facilitate and pay some of those bills if need be, or recommend. I think the language in my contract is that those bills be paid. So from here, it would be some ongoing support for that board approval process. Probably no mystery to folks on the call what that process is, but sometimes it can benefit from some insights and some process conversation. It's really an invitation to join this community of career economy, career focus. And I think that's growing as an outsider looking in now. It's just so vital to our communities, our community health, our school districts, creating opportunities for kids to get into meaningful careers in these ways. So really it's about ensuring local opportunities and partnerships are supported through this, and districts that express an interest are supported in moving that forward. The timelines, as you can see there, looking at a commitment for implementation in the 2026-2027 school year. So unlike so much in our sector, this comes with a timeline that is doable. I'd be happy to work with anyone. My contact information there, the phone call or an email to me to say, hey, I'm interested. Not sure if I can make a commitment, but let's have a conversation about what those design elements would be and how we can support moving forward in using this BAA. So I think I'll leave it there. Dawn, again, thanks for the time. I do know Danny and Tony are on the call as well, so I hope I didn't miss anything or speak for them. I try not to. And please just reach out and tell your friends. I know I notice lots of familiar names on the call, but we're not all, not everyone's represented. So if you think, oh, that might be perfect for so and so in the neighboring district, then let's make sure that they get a heads up on that. So thanks, Don.
Scott,
No, thank you.
I'd like doing a newsletter in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to include that information if I can. Send it out.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
No, that's a great idea. And I think many of us that are here today are keen on developing something. So I think you'll probably have many emails and phone calls, including one from myself. So thank you for that. All right. With that, I think if anyone, we're gonna do questions. So I don't know, Terry Ann, if we can get rid of the slides just for a quick second, just so we can see people's hands and faces. Thank you. And so kind of at whim here, if people want to start asking some of their questions, please fire away. Anyone have a
There are
question?
no questions.
I have one. I'm just not sure if it's okay. I'm calling in from Island Health, so I want to wait for the other folks to ask their questions first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions, anyone then? I know a lot of times once we start digging into these things, then we have our questions. Or when we get our collaboration time, we all of a sudden have a lot of questions about how people are making it work and the smaller logistical pieces. So that will always be kind of there. And I should ask, Rick and Maggie and Sherry, are you okay if people reach out throughout the next year and ask their questions as they're designing?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I should share, Dawn, so you just mentioned like getting it up and running and those sort of things. 5 kids signed up to take it next year in our school. Maybe more like 10, 5, 10, somewhere in there, but not enough for a class. So it won't be offered in the fall in our school. We are a declining enrollment school. So it may be offered, maybe there's a few kids that can take it through this online that we're developing, which would be great. Maybe it's every second year because we're a small school. I appreciate that, Kamloops was able to draw from a district to put together 26 kids. So trying to get 26 kids or 20 in one school is a challenge for these. But as the care economy grows, the needs grow and the trend moves forward, I think you're going to get more kids willing and parents saying, yeah, let's do this too.
Thank you. And we do have Jody's 2 questions. So her first questions, did you run into barriers with your tours? So I think that's over to you, Rick.
It was for Salt Spring specifically, but if
Oh,
anybody
Salt
has any
Spring. Oh,
advice, yeah.
SSI, Salt Spring Island.
Sorry, that's my
Oh.
abbreviation issues. Yeah, so one of the things that Heather and I consistently hear is that we can't have high school students in the hospitals and various places. So it's definitely a barrier that we're going to need to address. So just, I guess, looking for a little bit of advice and if they ran into that, if they've done some work already.
Yeah, we certainly did run into barriers. We did not tour the local hospital, but a lot of my students actually work in our extended care already. So a whole bunch of them, more than half the class had been in the extended care. One student arranged a self tour of the radiography up in Cowichan after we had a guest speaker. So the guest speakers were the key. We brought guest speakers in and we hosted the panel in our classroom. But then from that, individual students reached out and individual students were able to get a little more attention in our scenario. We toured Camosun College, their health education building, and that was a big, that was huge because their rooms look like the facilities. It's very hands-on. So, but yeah, tours were definitely a challenge. This year, we brought people into us, and I think next year or next time, there'll be more trust, and I think there'll be more, okay, we can take a small class, this sort of thing.
And one of the things I'll just share quickly is we've run into some issues around WorkSafe, that high school students aren't covered by any kind of insurance. So it's something that Heather and I have to take away. And I'm maybe going to ask Kamloops how they got around it as well.
There is
insurance.
There is insurance for that, and
okay.
we can definitely email that to you if you share your email. But I have been doing work experience placements in this community since 1991, and we used the hospital heavily. We had kids in the lab they did their own blood DNA analysis. We had them in radiology. We had them doing ultrasound. We had them doing a lot of things. And then all of the sudden, when the political environment changed and nurses were cut and staffing was an issue, there was nobody to supervise these students. There was nobody to supervise students on practicum placements. And so I think the time is now to review that, to say, okay, we've gone past the hurdle. There are so many kids who have explored careers and found that there's a nugget in all of them that they want to make a difference and they care. So the government needs to step up and make room for young people again in this environment. And there is insurance.
Okay, that's great to know. See, I'm just throwing all this out there. And then maybe I should connect with Kamloops offline, but I just wondered also, what was my question a minute ago? Just how much time on the health authority side something like this could take? Like, was it a few hours to start it up, or are we looking at an individual, like a full FTE, taking 4 months or something like that to get started? That's kind of what I'm looking at.
I think I'll start the answer and then Carrie can jump in because she dealt directly with the academy as it moved forward. But really, as I said, we had a pre-existing relationship with Interior Health through that Discover Day in Healthcare. So a lot of the foundation was already there. So it was available to us to then approach that individual that we talked about, Sarah, about how we could expand and gain more access. And as Maggie said, we do have opportunities already within our hospital to have students there. So we basically leverage that as well. But Carol, I'll pass it over to you for a bit more information.
In terms of time from the health authority, so lots of emails back and forth, getting things set up, and then Sarah Lohman, who is the external partnership coordinator for Interior Health, she developed with the hospital and the care home an elaborate schedule, very color-coded elaborate schedule, which I'm sure I can share with anybody who's wanting it as well. So that would have taken her some time. And then the actual time the students were there were Wednesday afternoons from, I think it was 12 to 3. Yeah, does that answer everything you were looking for, Jody?
Yeah, I think I was just wondering again about the barriers, but it sounds like you guys had a much stronger relationship maybe than we've had with our school districts. Not a dig at anybody, just saying we're starting this journey now. So it doesn't sound like it's a massive undertaking on the health authority side. So I think I'm just kind of looking at the resource side because I only have Heather and there's only one of her and it's a big island despite the fact that it's an island. So yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Our kids actually, they call it a job shadow. And then they have to sign 2 forms. When they come for the orientation, the parents will sign 2 forms saying that, it is just that. So the hospital's not liable for the kids, but on the school district side, we carry the insurance for them should something happen. So that kind of takes care of the worry of, I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, the injury side, work safe.
Liability, things like that. Yeah.
Liability, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie. That's great.
And we had a comment from Danielle Huckalak. So if a student is registered for WEX 12 and paperwork is signed, insurance is covered, them being workers of the Crown. Does anybody have any comments towards that? Or are we all comfortable with that statement?
Do you want me to speak to it, Rick? Yeah. So I find that one, I'll just a little bit tricky because yes, they are, but then it also says on paperwork, without going huge into it, we added that to our insurance policy so that just in case something did happen, the kids are covered. It just made it so they're well protected, even though they're just supposed to be doing a job shadow. And then parents do sign the consent waiver form from the school district.
Perfect. Thank you. That's great. Okay. So a few people there, Maggie, that are hoping for an email on the insurance piece. And then the second question there, okay, it was asked by Jody. So, okay, we're good on that one. Any other questions? We have 2 minutes left.
I will be sending out slides and the contact info of everybody again to each person who's registered today.
Thank you, Terry-Ann. Okay. So with that then, just noting again for the 5th time, all their resources are available on the website. If there are any additional questions, you can reach out to Terry-Ann at Executive Director, and we'll make sure that those get answered. Or you can email myself if you're close and you have my email address. We'll make sure we get them answered for you. And I think I also want to just put in one more last little plug. So there is another, and I don't know, Danny, I don't want to botch this, but so there is another course that is coming, and it's for the tech sector, and that's from SD 44 is working on that. And I did reach out to them, and they're happy to present to us in the fall once all their resources are developed. So anyone interested in doing, so we have R2 Health, if someone's interested in the tech sector, we'll send out another email and that they're going to present on their course as well that they've designed. And the course is already ready. They're just developing all their resources right now. Dave Travers, with 1 minute to go. You're muted, Dave.
I know. There we go. Perfect. Hey, what's the process for using BA courses from other districts? Would we still have to pass it through our board? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have theirs. So we're going to take one of these courses to our board in December. I mean, I'm going to also apply to Scott. I think we're going to need to curtail it to our community a little bit more and our teachers. But we'll take it to board in December so we can get it in our handbooks and have it in schools for 26, 27.
Good. All right. Hutchka, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, without further ado, it is 4 p.m. Thank you,
Well
everybody.
done.
Thank you to our presenters. I know it can be stressful presenting, but thank you for sharing all of your information and your resources with us. And I hope everybody has a fantastic evening. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for
Donna,
including
sorry.
us. This is